Hello and welcome to Zoho Flow, the complete guide. I'm Jennifer, and in this video, we'll be going over the many things you can do with Zoho Flow, a centralized integration platform that allows you to connect your applications with each other and build automated workflows. But before we begin to talk about Zoho Flow, let's learn what an integration platform is. An integration platform is a software application that's used to integrate two or more applications together for them to communicate and share data with each other. Businesses run operations across many departments and roles, including sales, customer support, HR, project management, and more. And to manage these operations, they need multiple applications. If these applications are disconnected, it will lead to incomplete movement of data between these apps and inefficient communication between different teams. To overcome this problem, to break down silos and build a cohesive work environment where all your applications can communicate with each other, you need the help of an integration platform, and that is where Zoho Flow comes in. Zoho Flow offers you the ability to connect your Zoho apps like Zoho CRM, Zoho Mail, Zoho Books with other third-party business apps like Shopify, MailChimp, Airtable, together to build a comprehensive ecosystem. Additionally, Zoho Flow also lets you connect your private on-premise networks with cloud applications. By integrating all the necessary applications together, you will be able to build automated workflows involving multiple applications. These automated flows can be comprehensive with decisions, conditional logic, multiple actions, and more, letting you automate a multiple set of events that you would have to do manually, saving you time and effort. Now let's take a look at how you can use Zoho Flow. If you already have a Zoho Flow account, you can click on Access Zoho Flow, or you can also sign into your new Zoho Flow account. When you click on Access Zoho Flow, the list of flows will be listed here, and you can toggle between these flows by switching on and switching off. You can create a flow by clicking on the Create Flow button here, or you can also click on the plus sign to create a new flow. Also, you can create a folder and group your flows accordingly. The next we have is the dashboard view. Here, the total number of flows will be listed, and the task used by each flow will also be listed here, and the task usage, the recent executions, the status of each execution, and the performance will be listed. The settings tab here will let you modify or view different aspects of your profile. We will take a look at a few platform specific settings now and focus on other feature or workflow specific settings as we go forward in the session. So the first we have is the organization profile. So here you can edit your organization name, set up a time zone, and also a date format for your organization, and then click on Save. The next we have is the history. So here the task history will be listed, and you can filter out your task history by selecting a particular flow, status, and filter through a particular date. The next we have is the connections. So here the connections tab will help you filter out all the connections that you have created with the respective apps. The next we have is the members tab. The members in your organization will be listed in the members section. You can add, remove, or manage their access on this page. The next we have is the audit trail. The audit trail section will have a list of every connection, flow, and execution you built using Zoho Flow. And finally, the support access will let you grant the flow support team access to your flow and settings for a specific period so that they can assist you more effectively. The Explore Gallery section in Zoho Flow lists all the available Zoho Flow applications. Zoho Flow supports about 900 apps, including both Zoho apps and other cloud and non-premise apps. You can integrate any of these applications with each other to build your automated workflows. You can also search for your apps or look for them based on categories from the drop-down here. These featured flows are a list of pre-built templates that you can use to build flows quickly. Most apps here will have a few templates available which you can use as a starting point to begin building your flows more easily. Similarly, as we scroll, you can see that these apps have triggers and actions. Triggers and actions together form a workflow. A trigger is an external event from the app that kickstarts your workflow. Once the trigger event has happened, it will automatically execute the following events that you want your workflow to perform. Those events are called actions. For example, one of the CRM's trigger here is the new lead, which means your workflow will be triggered when a new lead is created. Now, in Zoho Click, message in channel is an action, and you can configure this as an action if you want to send a message. Zoho Flow supports both cloud and on-premise applications. This means you will be able to integrate cloud-based apps with apps set up in your local network and vice versa. Now let's take a look at how to integrate your apps and build workflows using Zoho Flow. First, click the plus sign here to create a flow, and the flow name is a mandatory field. Provide a name for your flow, and the description is an optional field. Click on Create. Clicking on Create will take you to the next page, and the triggers will be listed here. Zoho Flow supports about 6 types of triggers. Now let's see what they are. An app trigger is an event in an application that kickstarts a flow. It's one of the most commonly used triggers in Zoho Flow and helps you integrate one or more applications together. Zoho Flow supports about more than 900 applications, which you can find listed under the Explore Gallery section that we saw earlier. Now let's take a scenario where we build a flow that integrates Zoho CRM with another application. Now let's look at the application trigger. Click on Configure, and you can see the list of supported applications in Zoho Flow. Now search for the application that you would like to create a workflow. So for example, I am selecting Zoho CRM here, and I'll click on Next, and you can see the list of supported CRM triggers. So now I'll select a CRM trigger and click on Next. And when you click on Next, the first thing that you have to do is to create a connection. So to create a connection, I will click on the New button and name my connection, and select all triggers and actions and click Authorize. Since I already have a connection, I will use the existing one and choose a module and click Done. And this is how you set up the application trigger. Next is a schedule trigger, which works on a predefined schedule, enabling your workflows to get executed exactly when you need them. They can be set either on a one-time or recurring schedule. For example, when you want to schedule a weekly meeting with your team, you can use the schedule trigger to create the meeting, send emails, and text notifications to your attendees automatically. You can also choose how often your flow gets executed: daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, or just once. You can choose the frequency from the drop-down. If you select daily, then click on the start date and choose the days of the week. If your frequency is weekly, then select the start date and set the repetition interval. If the frequency is monthly, then select the start date, day of the month, and choose the relevant months. If the frequency is yearly, select the start date and click the repetition interval. And this is how you will schedule a trigger. The next we have is the webhook trigger. Webhooks are a powerful way to receive real-time data from your apps and systems in your workflows instantly. With Zoho Flow's webhook trigger, you can connect any source that supports webhooks to hundreds of other applications. A webhook trigger is similar to an app trigger, but instead of an application, the integration uses source code or an API. Just copy the provided URL here and paste it in the API of the application from where you want to receive data. This way, whenever there's data updated in the API, your flow will get triggered. When you choose a webhook trigger, you can also choose the format you want to receive the data in, which is typically the JSON format. After setting up the webhook, you can test the connection using sample data. The next we have is the URL trigger. If you have custom websites or applications that may not yet support webhooks, or if the integration isn't available in Zoho Flow, you can use the URL trigger to look for new data periodically. Contrary to the webhook trigger, for URL triggers, you need to copy the URL from the API of the app and paste it in the trigger URL and fetch the response. And this is how the URL trigger works. The response should either be in JSON or Excel format. When the response is fetched, you can choose a data extraction path from the drop-down. You should note that this path contains records you need to extract. The next we have is the email triggers. Email triggers in Zoho Flow can help you parse incoming templated emails and kickstart workflows based on them. For example, if you receive a support ticket as a templated email, Zoho Flow can help you parse that email and add the fee details as fields in your help desk application, saving you time and effort. In order to configure an email trigger, you need to create an email template. To create one, you need to send an email to the desired email address here. You can choose the data points in the email you will need as variables in your flow and save the template. Every email template you create will be saved and can be selected from this drop for further use. When an email with a similar template is received, the flow gets triggered and highlighted data will be extracted. This data will be used to build your flow. And finally, we have the RSS Atom Feed trigger, which works based on updates in web feed. These feeds are a type of structured data feed that provides users with updates from websites or other content pages. To configure an RSS Atom Feed trigger, click on Configure and provide the URL in the feed URL field and fetch the response. Once the response is received, you can choose the methods from the drop-down based on which feed items will be fetched. All the available elements from the feed will be displayed and you can use them as variables in the flow. Every time an update is made to the RSS feed, the flow will get kickstarted. Currently, Zoho Flow supports only publicly accessible feeds. Now let's go through a quick demo on how to build or select connections to set up an action. After configuring your trigger, you'll need to add actions. Your actions are the events you wish to execute using your workflow. A flow can only be activated or executed when it contains at least one action. You can find these actions on the left-hand side of the builder under the Apps and Logic sections. You can search for the application that's required and check for the action that's added for your requirement and drag and drop into the builder page. You can map the necessary fields by going into the variable section. Variables are elements from triggers or actions that you can use to map the data. The variable name will be auto-populated and the data received from the previous steps will be available as variables in the right-hand panel. And you can map them directly into the fields in the action and click on Done. Once the actions are added, you can edit or delete them by clicking the respective icons. You can also remove any link connecting the flow by clicking the scissors from the builder page. Once the actions and triggers are configured, we can look at a few logic elements that we support in Zoho Flow. The first we have is a set variable. You can drag and drop them into your builder, and the set variable element helps you create a variable and assign a value to it. The value can either be a constant or a result of a formula from your workflow. For example, you can set up a workflow where you integrate an e-commerce platform with a finance application and offer a standard discount. Set variable can execute the flow by calculating the discount amount as well. The next logic element is the decision. Decision, as the name suggests, helps your workflow make decisions based on your inputs. If you want your workflow to perform based on an if and else function, you can use the decision box. This lets your flow move one way if a particular event happens and the other if that event doesn't. For example, this element can let you decide which orders you want to get a discount and which don't based on the criteria you set. Similarly, if you want your workflow to perform a certain function after a delay, you can do so by using the delay function. In the delay for field, you can type in a duration, and in the delay until field, you can select a date until which the workflow has to be delayed. The next logic element would be the send email notification. The send email logic element can help you send email notifications whenever a certain event in your workflow happens. you can create a pre-built email template to send to your recipients, but there's a limit of 50 email addresses. Apart from existing triggers and actions, Zoho Flow also allows you to build tailor-made workflows that suit your requirements more precisely. Flow's logic elements help you do this. While these elements can help you add logic to your workflow, the custom functions feature lets you create customized logic elements based on your needs. Using Deluge, you can write code and customize your workflow to perform various sets of actions that include separating line items, formatting dates, converting currency, and more. Finally, we have the commands and scripts function, which can help you execute actions or scripts on your locally hosted private network, while the remote commands and scripts function lets you execute them on your remotely hosted private network. Now let's discuss a few features or buttons available in the Builder page. Zoho Flow offers a dynamic drag and drop builder that helps you create workflows in a matter of minutes. You can easily arrange your workflow elements based on your requirements, offering you more control. The Auto Arrange button here, for example, assembles your flow neatly, providing you with a clear picture of your workflow. You can also undo or redo your actions. The Test and Debug button here goes through your whole workflow and points out any errors with it. This can help you make any changes and ensure your workflow performs seamlessly without any hiccups. Zoho Flow also provides you with error branching capabilities that can help you set up an alternative set of actions when there's an issue with your workflow. You can create these error branches on the right side of your workflow. For example, in the Logic tab, you can search for the Send Email action and drag and drop it as an error branch. So whenever the Create Module entry goes through an error, the Send to Email action will notify you with an email stating that the Create Module entry action in CRM is not working. Now once you have set up the workflow, you can turn it on using the on and off button here. If you want your existing workflows not to get executed for a while, you can just turn them off here. Now let's take a look at how an integration can be built in Zoho Flow. Our requirement today would be when a form is submitted with client information, a contact has to be created in CRM. Now let's click on Create a Flow and provide the flow name. And provide a short description if needed and click on Create. Now let's choose the app trigger and search for the app. So I'll be using Zoho Forms today. Click on Zoho Forms and click Next. Choose the Zoho Forms trigger and click Next, and choose a connection from the drop-down or create a new one, and choose the form in which the client information will be filled. Click on Done and the trigger is configured. Now let's search for the application for our action, and that would be CRM. And use the Create Module Entry action, drag and drop it into the builder, and use the connection from the drop-down or create a new one for the CRM, and choose the module as Contacts. Now go to the Entry Submitted New Version form trigger and select the trigger to list the variables and search for the first name. Now map the first name by clicking on it and then the last name. Fill out the required fields for your contact. The next would be the email address and click on Done. Now let's go to Zoho Forms. And submit the form with the required information. fill in the required details and submit the form. Now once the form is submitted, let's go to Zoho Flow and check the history. Now let's go to the history page, and here we can see the execution listed here. Now this is a successful execution. Let's go to CRM and check if the contact has been created. So yes, the contact is created in CRM with the details that was provided in Zoho Flow. And this is how Zoho Flow works. With over 900 applications, Zoho Flow provides you with many different ways to create customized workflows based on your exact requirements. In addition to the cloud integration use cases we covered earlier, Zoho Flow also supports on-premises integration, letting you connect your private system with cloud applications. And with that, we're wrapping up our video. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to support@zohoflow.com and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you.